Hello and welcome to Too Old for This Shite, a podcast about nerdy things that maybe kind of like we're probably too old for and stuff. So this week we're going to be talking about Space Gitz, Blood Bowl, and the Wrasslin. Yeah. Joining us today is me and my co-host. What do you want to be called? If you want to use your real name, because if people find out I know who you really are.
Lord Xantar.
Right, and Lord Xantar, my wife. Lord Xantar. But yeah, I suppose jumping straight, we'll start off with Space Gitz. So for anyone who isn't familiar with Space Gitz, there's this dude called Mike Hutchinson who made a couple of very famous games. Probably Gaslands is the most famous out of them. Which it's like basically you can kit bash cars and stuff to go around killing each other like a Mad Max type game. I've never played it, so that's what I think it is. So I would say that's what it is.
Pixar's cars?
Yeah, it is. It's Pixar's cars, except they're all on angel dust and fentanyl.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and so basically Space Gitz is a game that he's been working on. I've been playing the beta of it for a while. So it's a tabletop game where you can play as a warband of your own orcs. You can have different factions in it, like you can be a chef, there's cops, there's, I can't remember all because I only really read through the factions because he's been updating the rules for the last while. It's gone into a Kickstarter thing now where the final rules are just about there. But it's, how would you describe the gameplay to someone who isn't, because
so it's very simple. In fact, in comparison to a lot of other tabletop games, there's not as many rules to remember. It's a lot easier for beginners to start with. So basically, you collect.
It's more tactile. Yeah. So it's with the dice mechanics is the big selling point too.
Exactly. So basically,
for the movement.
So for the movement, you throw your dice on the table and you have to move in the direction that your dice land, which already is like a perfect thing because it's very random. It's very chance. There's a little bit of skill involved. Not quite so much because sometimes your dice will just fall off the table. Yeah,
and it's what it's meant to be. It's a game about drunken space orcs. So it's the whole thing with the movement as well. If it goes off, you have to follow the movement. You can't if one of your dice is like say a 4, you have to move 4 inches with that dice towards the dice's direction. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to move 2 inches." Mm-hmm. So say if it happened to me on a couple of occasions where there was one dice in the front and the other dice at the back. Because you're trying to be sneaky with your moves, but it's so hard to control the way the dice is going to go.
Falls,
So you might move 4 forward and then it's 5 back. But you have to do it. You can't just decide, no, I'm not moving back.
But I think the most ideal thing about it is the fact that you use beer bottle caps for loot. Yeah. That's what you use for loot. And every time you complete a round, you take a drink and you put a dice down. So it's the ideal drinking game.
And as well, instead of having, say, 5 wounds and you're dead, or 2 wounds or whatever and you're dead, it's you stack up dice. So at the end of it, you take a swig of your drink and you put a dice down. So you build a tower of dice on top of that. So say if you get hit and you get 5 damage done to you, you have to put 5 dice onto it. So then when your dice stack falls over, you're knocked out.
And it is actually kind of fun because you're sort of playing Jenga in the middle of it. You're trying to build a tower and you're also getting progressively drunk if you're taking your swig at the end of every turn, like you should do.
And so then you get knocked out and you're not dead or anything like that. You're just incapacitated, I suppose.
Like you would be when you're drunk.
Yeah. And the point of the game is to see who can gather the most caps, or I suppose there's going to be other things. But that's the very basics of the game. There's, like I was saying, there's factions in it, there's other bits and pieces that you can do, and there's campaigns that you can put into it, so you can have RPG mechanics where you can upgrade your guys, there's shops in it. There's I have to build up kind of bits of terrain for it, so all that we were using in the games that we were playing was it was a food shop. Yeah, there's explosive barrels, and I built a vending machine for it.
So you can buy things.
Yeah, so if you hit the vending machine, you roll a D6 and you can get different things like an energy drink, which will make you move. So you can roll 6 dice instead of 3 dice. And so it's really fun. We played a couple of games And you said it's the most fun that you've had.
It's, for starters, it's the easiest one to get into as well, because you're not kind of flipping through, Jesus, go to page 34 for fucking to see what this roll does, and then go to this to see what this, your strength is, and your dexterity is, and your attack is, and all the rest. It's fairly simplified, so you can just crack on into it. You can have a bit of fun. And as I said, it's kind of, it's sort of a little bit of a game of chance and luck, insofar as you have to throw your dice down, and just wherever the chips land, you just have to go. And it's also a little bit of sort of like, as I said, you're meant to be taking a drink every time you do it, but equally you're stacking your dice towers that little bit higher and higher, so the drunker you get, the less able you're able to actually move your towers around with your orcs. So it's like Jenga as well. It's one of the most fun games I've played in a while.
Yeah, the mechanics are really good in it. We had, I think, last game that we played where it was like it went into a standoff between two guys that we had that were like getting really high stacks of dice, so we couldn't move them, or else you'd definitely knock over.
Yeah, so it was just, I'll shoot you, I'll try and
so
keep
we were just
you.
shooting back and forward, and that's the dog sneezing. He's got, I think, hay fever.
Summer allergies.
Yeah.
And as well, like, I mean, it's got these other little kind of nice mechanics in it as well. It's basically rock, paper, scissors.
That's the cool thing with the combat. Yeah. Go on, sorry. Yeah.
So basically, like, kind of, if you go into combat with each other, it's not quite rock, paper, scissors. It's like punch, pinch, or push. So punch is like a rock because it's like a fist. Pinch is like the scissors because it's a claw, and push is like paper because it's like an open hand. So you basically just rock, paper, scissors it until
someone gets pushed or someone falls over from the dice sack. So that's the thing with the punches. It's not like, oh, I hit you and then it's like we break up. It's like it keeps going until there's the push. So if you can be strategic with it, like, so if you do manage to get a thing where you manage to land a load of punches on someone and build a stack up, and then you go for it, try and get the push, so then you're going to knock that,
move your dice. And in the meantime you can pinch all the loot as well. That's what the pinches, you can just keep stealing all the
that was the first game that we had. You, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but all the fucking bottle caps, so you had nearly all of them. I think you had like 10, and I had 2, and I was like, alright, I'm not going to win.
And then you just pinch them all back.
Yeah, and it was mostly like bad luck on Europe, because it was with the exploding barrels. Anyone can get hit and it can do a certain amount of damage.
So I exploded a barrel, but I unfortunately blew up about 3 of my orcs.
It was that one only blew up another barrel. So when the one barrel blew up, it blew up another barrel. So then it took out 2 of your orcs really, with the amount of dice that were built up on it. And then I managed to go in and I could keep kicking or looting from Laura's knocked over.
Excuse me, Lord Xanthars.
Oh, Lord Xanthars knocked over orcs.
Yes.
With it. But it's great. Like, it's really, really, really good fun. It's fucking fantastic. It's a well-written book. It's very funny as well with it. And one of the things I quite like about Mike Hutchinson's style of writing is he actually explains the thought process he had behind the game, where it's like, it starts off, it might be different in the finished book, but another game he's Hobgoblin, which I've gotten, which we're going to play at some stage soon. He talks about the process behind, he's like, why he wanted to have certain mechanics in it. And it's with this where he's like, I wanted to see kind of like about like different dice mechanics and kind of like if it'd be fun, but as well it's like, look, I'm not fucking standing over you. If you don't want to play the game like this, you can play it another way. You can build your own armies. I'm not going to come calling around to your house and kick the shit out of you or whatever. So it's, I think sometimes people need to hear that in rules, where it's like, look, you're not fucking locked in on this. Do what you want. Because you see a lot of times with Games Workshop stuff where people are like, all right, there's an update to this. All my army is like worthless now, because people do think you have to stay up to date with it, or you have to, like, nearly as if you get into trouble if you don't. Like, Games Workshop are going to come around and go, you motherfucker, how dare you play my game with that model.
But if you go into, like, sort of games with other people other than, like, say your spouse or your best friend, you kind of like, shit, I need to know all the rules. Whereas with this one, I think it's very simple to keep track of as well, because it's not like, okay, it's your turn, now you've got to strategize for like 15 of your figurines to move. It's like, you move one, focus, that's it, and then it's over to the other person for their turn. And you can have, how many did you say, up to 5 people playing?
Probably more, but like, I mean, I think on the size of the table, that'll probably be a comfortable amount for it. Now, as well, say, other than we were just playing, say, the beginner's rules for it, where the normal rules are, say, you can actually construct a warband, or if you want, you could construct, like, nearly a small little army from it. So, say, it'd be, like, 25 credits you can spend on it, and I think some of the orcs are, like, say, 3 credits for a normal orc, or 5 credits maybe for a normal, or, yeah, I think it's something like that, and 3 credits for a goblin. And then you can have, I can't remember what they're called, but like say mechs in it as well. The God, what are they? Jeez, it'll come to me fucking in a bit. But
probably big tanks and robots and stuff.
Oh, you can have tanks in it as well. There is like we didn't do it because that's like part of the newer rules where there's like vehicles in it.
Vehicles.
Yes.
Oh, easy knowing you're a townie, not a culture.
I didn't say vehicles, yeah. But you can like have your orc helicopters in it. You can have loads of like there's a lot to it, but the rules are relatively simple. But I do think it's one of these things where it's easy to learn and probably hard to master, but it's a lot of fun.
Yes. But in fact, I mean, I figured out how to play it within the first like throw or two. Yeah. That's I'm absolutely like at the lower end of the mental spectrum.
but that's the way most games should be with it, because
easy
it's like it's fun and like there's enough room to expand with it. So like before we got into it, like I was like, well, I just have a few things, and but now I'm going to make up a load of different terrain for it that we can have like portals, and there's a load of shit in it. And as well, where it's like I built say about 1,000-point Warhammer orc army a while ago, and it's like I'm done with fucking orcs, and then I had to finish off an Age of Sigmar Space Gitz army, and I was like, I'm fucking definitely done with orcs and goblins for a while. But after playing that now, I'm like, no, I want to make up, because like a warband it's like 5 orcs, so it's like no,
you can pick and choose your favourite guys, like, do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you have to have like 10 of these and fucking 15 of these to your different sort of groups. Like, oh, I'll just pick my 5 favourites.
But you can have a band, like, I mean, the thing is, especially hopefully you'll be getting a 3D printer soon, so you can print off different orcs and kit bash, as well. So you could have a band, because there's musician kind of faction in it. Yeah. But like the chef faction, I think is quite funny, and and the cop one's like. It's like a Judge Dredd model, which I think Cromlech, which they're like a really good design company, miniature company. They do terrain and stuff like that as well. They are doing up the cop models for the Kickstarter, I think, and it's basically Judge Dredd, an orc Judge Dredd. They look really funny. Yeah.
But that's, I mean, like, orcs look funny no matter what. Like, I mean, as I said, the chefs like kind of run around with ladles and stuff like that. Whatever. It's just, I think orcs just look hilarious anyway. But
they should with it. Like, I mean, it should be
especially when it's called Space Gitz. I mean, like, that kind of sets the tone for what to expect, It's not going to be, like, serious sort of, like, Tolkien-esque. Oh, my God.
No.
Sort of elves and fucking high elves and stuff like that. It's just like, we're just going to, like, we've got shooters, we've got stuff, we're going to kick the arse off it. And away we go.
But like it's like we were saying, like I'm really psyched about. I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully, this week we're going to bring it up to the local game club and see if we can get a few other people to play it and see if they do, and if we can get it kind of like maybe over time get a campaign going with people.
But that's the best thing about it though as well, because it's easily understandable. And now this is coming from somebody I've tried a few different games. I would consider myself relatively intelligent. I managed to hold down a decent job, and I've carried out most aspects of my life fairly okay.
But you are only a woman, so therefore games are difficult.
Yeah, it just is beyond me. But that's the thing, there's some games where I've kind of tried hard to enjoy them, but it's like it turns into like an exercise in maths or something like that.
For anyone not familiar with fucking sarcasm as well, it's not like the people might get a fucking thing in their head if they're like from another country, kind of like that. It's like, oh, Irish men think that way, and when they talked, it's taking the piss, obviously.
Yes, exactly, because I am incredibly smart. SMRT. But anyway, yes, I would consider myself, as I said, relatively okay and intelligent, able to do things, but there's some games we played and I've been like, oh, this feels like fucking being back at school.
Battletech.
Oh my God.
Battletech was like,
it's painful.
It was like, I've played war games for a long time. Enjoyable. Well, I stopped playing for a long time as well, and oh my God. Like, we had a podcast, I think, and it was painful to Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, when it gets to that stage, it's, for me anyway, I know some people will probably enjoy that, but for me, it's not fun. I am not very detail orientated a lot of the time. Like, I mean, we just finished watching a video where some guy was putting terrain together and he spent ages mapping out like cobble lock patterns and stuff. And while the final result was marvellous looking, I was like, I could not be fucked. I was just like, I would throw a pile of shit in the ground and go, yep, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, but the terrible thing is you throw a pile of shit in the ground and it'll probably look as good as, you know, it's like, it's different for people. Some people like the crunch with games. It's not particularly for us. Like years ago I would like to, and every now and again I kind of go, yeah, I must get back into like some of the Warhammer. I'd like to play the old world. And then you read through some of the stuff and they kind of go, I can't fucking shit.
That's it. Just, it becomes like, oh no, it's like I'm back at school and I'm trying to learn stuff off by rote, and you're trying to follow a particular thing. It's like trying to form maths formulas or something like that, or referring and flicking over and back. Whereas this is just, it's not simple to the point of being like, oh my god, it's so obvious and dumb. It's like, it's logical, it's easy to follow. Once you get in on the few rules, you kind of go, yeah, this makes sense, I know what I'm doing. I can enjoy the fun aspect rather than going, oh god.
Well, I think really good games, it's like, right, look, here's the rules. That's what you do. Chess. Chess is not a complicated game to learn how to play. Yeah, well, it might be for some people, but for most people it's not.
But you learn the movements of each piece, and then that's it, off you go.
There is like endless strategy to chess. It's considered one of the most strategic, and you know, fucking, if you haven't heard of chess, like, what are you doing? But even checkers, right, move fucking diagonally and jump over you. Oh, you bastard, right? Yeah. That's checkers.
I built a tower.
But checkers, it's fucking, there's a lot of strategy to it, so it's, you know, just because
the moves are simple doesn't mean that you can't strategize quite a lot.
So there's quite, because I think by the second game, the two was, because the first game was like really chaotic, it was really fun, but it was chaotic. The second game, the two were being more kind of like, right, I'm not fucking running up there, because if I run up there, this is gonna, you have an idea what's gonna happen with it, but where it was more cautious. And
it does get fun as well, where you get into a standoff where kind of like, I'm going to keep shooting you because you keep on, every time I hit you, you're going to have to build your tower of dice higher. And it's like, anytime you want to move, you've got to drag the tower with you. So it's just like, right, let's see how good you are at fucking playing Jenga. But first one to blink. Like,
even with, like, say, with the further on, because we were just playing with basic weapons with the first couple of games that we're playing, but you can have them, like, say, flamethrowers, the usual things, stat out your kind of, like, guys with different weapons, different hand weapons. So, like, there's, like, two-handed weapons and one hand, you know, so you can get people up if you're list building, if you're into that thing. Which I love list building, like as much as I really like list building.
Yes. You are a total freak though.
No, most people I think in war games like list building, because it's like you're creating your own like war band or your own army, like Frostgrave, Stargrave, everything has list building in it. Except chess.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm going to take everything apart from one rook. What?
I see, that's the thing, I suppose, because you're very detail orientated and you have a lot of, like, even in your artwork and stuff like that, you're very detailed, you've got fine lines and all the rest.
Not detailed.
Whereas, in comparison to me, whereas I'm just like, slap it on, it'll do, it's fine. Measurements, what are they?
But
fuck
you can
that.
do, those options are there as well. There's like it's a random a way you're randomly selecting like an army, which could be quite fun as well if you want to do something like that with your friends, where you roll off and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I got like a fucking an orc that's only got one arm, and so you could kit bash him like over a week or 2 weeks or so, you know, and get back together then with this.
Paint up and create up your own sort of little factions and stuff.
But like.
Yeah, but it's actually a hilarious game, because even when you're trying to be really sneaky, you're like, I'm going to roll these dice and I'm going to land them here, so I'm going to be able to shoot you.
It goes wrong.
And then it goes totally wrong, and you end up like blowing up your own orcs or something, and you're just like, fuck. And then it's, you know.
The exploding barrel mechanics were really good. That worked out fucking totally chaotic.
Yeah, where it's like, it's just literally blown up in your own face kind of a thing.
But even in the second game, we're getting to the point where I was like, Laura's going to win here. So it's like, I'm just going to shoot the barrel that's in between us and I'll take the hit as well. And I missed the fucking barrel. Like, there was one, all I had to do was get one dice, like, some way behind the barrel.
Yeah, and but no, it just bounced and hopped off the table.
But yeah, look, anyone that's interested, I think that he's after putting the beta rules up for free now as well. So there, and as well there is the beginner free rules, and there's like videos on YouTube about how to play it. have a go at it, and if you like it, back it on Kickstarter or
Yes.
do something.
What's the name of the guy that was in excess?
Michael Hutchins. Yeah.
There you go. Yes.
Or Mick Hutchins. Well, Mick or Michael, yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Hutchins, he was married to Paulie Yates, wasn't he going with Paulie Yates? Bob Geldof's ex.
Yes, there you go.
And didn't she die as well?
She did.
Yeah.
Yes. That was totally random. It was just because it sounded like the creator of this game. I was
Maybe
trying
it
to
is.
remember because I had Mick Hucknall in my head, and that's like,
Oh, Mick Hucknall, no.
Simply Red.
Simply dead.
Yes.
He's still around. I think they made a bit of a comeback, didn't they?
Yeah, well, I suppose being a ginger, he has no soul, so how can
But weren't they at like something like Coachella or something like that?
Are you serious?
Yeah, there was something, I don't know, I could be wrong, it mightn't be Coachella, maybe it was Burning Man, but they were at some kind of festival, you go, what the fuck were they, you know? You know the way young people, like, pick up on fucking random
yeah, that's it. They're like,
shit
it's vintage and it's ancient. I suppose it'd be the same as like us looking at stuff from the 50s and going, wow, Elvis is so cool.
No. Well, he was. Elvis was cool.
Yes, but I didn't think so at the time.
In the 50s?
Yeah, when I was a teenager.
All right. But and then kind of going from Space Gitz to Blood Bowl.
Yes.
There was one of our local clubs was having a Blood Bowl night a while ago where it was like there's a guy in the club who's played in tour and he's won in like say I don't know the names of it. They're like proper Blood Bowl tournaments. He's very good, yeah.
Yes, exactly, and he's won a lot of tournaments, like, so he was very good and very helpful at teaching people.
He was brilliant. It was like a talking encyclopedia of Blood Bowl. He basically talked through all the rules for about 20 minutes. Me and Laura were looking on kind of, and looking at each other going, no, it's not going in. Yeah, we're not picking it up at all. And yeah, we played out there, and then we had a couple of games when we came home. Then over
trying to solidify, because as I said, like I mean, it was we were playing out there, and your man was helping to kind of strategize, and he's like, well, if you do this is what's going to happen, but if you do this might happen. So you could have a think about that. And I was just like smiling and nodding, going, I don't understand what I do.
I think he might have
just help me move.
I think he kind of jumped a little bit ahead on things. So there were some basic things that we were after missing, like how to fucking move, or about that. So it was like jumping into these complex kind of proper stratagems, where it's like.
And I was like, what's
blocking? But we figured it out, and we had a couple, and like it's the one problem that I had with the game itself was that I think I could play one game.
It lasts a long time.
Yeah,
I suppose,
it lasted long. Now, saying that we got this is a newer edition of Blood Bowl. There was an edition came out in maybe 2018 or something like that, or 2016.
Yeah, it would have been
got
before
that.
COVID, yeah, definitely.
And we got that, and I think after a couple of games we were like, oh god, this is not good. We didn't enjoy it. Now I can't because I just forgot about it after that.
Yeah.
This one feels a lot more fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what's changed.
I don't know, is it more user friendly or something? I don't know.
But it feels more fun, or it could have been just having someone explain it to us.
Maybe you understand it now.
Because
like,
even after the thing, we were like, let's look at a couple of videos on how to play. And there's not many videos out there on Blood Bowl. It's not like 40k is like, there's obviously endless fucking videos on lower 40k and how to play and all the other shit. But with Blood Bowl, there's just not many video, it's even though it's a game that's been around forever and it's relatively popular, it's still very niche.
Yeah,
I think.
Suppose, See, I'm enjoying it so far because again, like we bought the thing and the starter kit, and there's like 2 teams in it.
Yeah.
There's orcs and like humans.
Yeah.
And
they're I can't remember. They're Imperial.
Yeah, something or another.
Wankers,
but you had just come off a whole big stint of painting orcs and goblins, and you're like, if I see another fucking green skin, I'm going to fucking explode. So I was like, cool, I'll take the orcs. I'm really enjoying painting up the orcs because I just like that kind of wacky kind of like, oh look, they're just fucking, got mad armour and they're throwing, this orc has a goblin is going to throw down the field, so I quite enjoyed that, whereas you were the opposite. The guys you got to paint were really fucking difficult and tedious to paint, I think.
They're not so much it's just I think I'm at the point after painting for so long where it's like I just don't want to be painting like armies or regimental things.
Yeah,
that
I
all
suppose
have to look
replicating the same over and over, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been at. Like, I mean, I'm way behind you as regards like sort of experience or knowledge or anything like that, because obviously you've been at it for 30, 40 years at this stage, and I've only finally given in the last year or so. I've been kind of in and out, off and on, and kind of gone, maybe not for me, but the last while I was kind of, do you know what, I really enjoy the painting, so I've been getting into it more. But I from the start, I've been kind of like, I do not want to do like regimented armies where it's like the same armour over and over and over again. I've been sort of more along the lines of Night Hunt or Nurgles or, you know, that kind of a thing where it's like you can be a little bit off the cuff and not everything has to look the same. So I actually don't know how you do a whole army full of like Space Marines or something like that. It's just replicating.
I did it a few times.
Like
well, I did it more than a few times already,
Yeah.
and it's it does get to the point where it like
It
you
feels
just
like
you just
work.
want to get them on the fucking
Yeah.
table, like, you know. So I think there's different. There's loads of different kind of parts of the hobby for people and different bits that people are going to enjoy. I think that's what makes it such a great hobby, that it's so multifaceted. But
That's the thing, because I really enjoy even though I'm still shit at it and I'm still learning all the techniques and stuff like that, I really enjoy the painting of it. I could spend like a whole day just sitting down painting like one little figurine, and it still looks shit at the end of the day.
no,
but I'm after having fun doing it.
But it's all about having fun, and it's about what you have fun doing. Whereas like I'm after getting to the point, and I think you're lucky enough, you knew it at the start, where it's like, I don't want to paint 100
A full
Space
army
Marines.
of the same ones, yeah.
Yeah, whereas there was a point where I did quite enjoy it, to the point where I got to like I got into using a fucking a spray gun, and I realised I don't want to do, you know, you do. There was like I think it was it the World Eaters. I was the last 40k. Well, I did an orc army. 40k as well, but it was like the Space Marine type one was, and it was just like, no, I had like a load of prime, I think it would have been 8th edition, maybe it was, yeah, it would have been 8th edition, and I had a bunch of Primaris Marine that I had set up to do like a bunch. I was going to do, I think, Blood Angels, and then I was going to do another fucking it was going to be 2 Space Marine armies. And then it was going to be a Death Watch army I was going to do, which would have been all black. And I was just like, after the World Eater, so I just can't. Like, I'm going to be painting these for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I'm going to be painting one of them red, and then another one of them, and then like I'm going to be painting fucking 100 of them black. And it was just like, no. Yeah, and that was when I started getting more back into fantasy stuff more, because I think fantasy stuff, there's a little bit more difference in the painting, even if you're painting a bunch of peasants.
Yeah.
They're not all the same fucking peasant, you know?
That's it. Like, I mean, that's kind of been my thing from the start, is like, I want to paint something that's, I suppose the word I'm using is organic, even though, okay, right, fucking Night Hunt, ghosts are not particularly organic, but it's not a regimented armour that they're wearing. So, like, even the stuff of, like, is it the Orks? What is it?
Oh, the Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
Yeah, like, I mean, I like the look of them because they're like skeletons, and obviously enough they're kind of, you know, that's, again, it's an organic kind of a model, but they still are a bit regimented as well, you know, so it's not quite what I want.
There's not a lot of variety in the line, from what I could see looking at it, that they do. It's just like, it nearly seems to be just differences in sizes, that they're all...
Whereas at least with, as I said, with any of the kind of, any Nurgle kind of army or whatever, it's like they're all different. They're all like, you can just decide what you want to be, like rotted flesh, you can do green flesh, purple flesh, pink flesh, white, you know, sort of like there's a bit of, you can contrast everything up, whereas I do think when you have the armies, it's just like, no, they all have to be red, they all have to be blue, they all have to be gold, you know, whatever. So, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
and you know the way I am as well, I'm not particularly detail orientated, probably be there, or patient, I suppose. So something is going, like, if I'm going to have to replicate the same thing like fucking 50 times over, I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so bored.
But there's a load of great painters that are like that, Laura. So I think that's what makes people great. Like, particularly, we're probably more in the 28 style of things, and like, say, grimdark in that as well, for lack of it. But there's a lot of people that do stuff in the grimdark painting style, for lack of a better term, but that they do really interest, but they are not into kind of like a slavishly kind of like edge highlighting and doing this, and you know, where it's like that kind of, there's a place for it, and if you enjoy painting that way, more power to you. I did it for a long time. I used to really enjoy it because it can be challenging, but at the moment, just not really into that. And that was why I didn't really enjoy painting up the Blood Bowl guys, because it was like, I found
they're all the same, so
it wasn't particularly challenging, and it was just like, alright, I'm going to paint this part blue on all of them, I'm going to paint this part, and I'm going to do this, and I'll just use these techniques, and that'll make it look... Now, there were some of them I really like that I painted, but there is a few, and as well the models, I think they're not fantastic.
I see, that's the thing as well. Like, I mean, I would love to be that person that is very calm, planning ahead, detail orientated. Yeah, I can replicate this a dozen times, but I am not. I am a little bit lazy, for want of a better word, I suppose. I don't tend to plan ahead. I have an idea in my head, and I kind of go, I kind of want him to be in this kind of like colour theme. But then I kind of go and I go, fuck it, I'll just slap it on and see what it looks like, rather than being very planned out. So, like, I mean, the likes of, say, even your man, as I said, we were watching today, doing all the kind of the different...
Yeah, it's Leric's realm.
Yeah, it's like...
Or Leric's realm. It's Leric or Leric, sorry.
But he's so detail-orientated, everything is mapped out concisely and all the rest, whereas, like, that for me, I can't. Like, I mean, if you remember years ago, I was like, I'm going to get into sewing, I'll get a sewing machine. And then I kind of realised, fuck, I have to follow patterns, and I'm just like... Seems like a lot of work.
Well, with that guy as well, he makes bricks out of cork board and stuff, and like he'll like sand down the bricks to get like the edges on it, and say you could be talking hundreds and hundreds of bricks, so it's very time consuming. But he quite obviously he probably finds it therapeutic, and that's what he gets out of it.
All the rest, but that's the thing. Like, I could see where doing something like that would be very like very enjoyable if you're into it. I wish I was into it, but I'm not. I would get very frustrated. I'd be just like, oh my god, just fucking finish it, like, Jesus Christ. I wouldn't have the patience.
I'm the same. There's, I'm really after getting, I'm after finding that what I really enjoy with painting is using oils, partially, like oil washes and kind of doing up.
It's kind of unexpected as well, the results sometimes, isn't it? Yeah,
but it's kind of nice just fucking being messy with things. And as well, for certain things, it fits the model. So I think that's the thing where you have to get like the style of painting that fits the model that you're painting as well. Because, say, having a happy kind of old hammer style fucking dwarf and trying to paint him up all grimdark.
Yeah. It's gonna look a bit odd, isn't it?
It's not gonna. I'm just gonna let the dog out if Laura keeps talking.
Who let the dog out?
Yeah, you don't have to be torturing people. But so yeah, with Blood Bowl game wise, I don't know. We haven't really been. We've been painting the fellas, and I think we're kind of nearly using that as an excuse not to play. Where it's like, oh, wait till we have them all painted to play.
I see. I'm quite happy just doing that's the thing. Like, I really enjoy the painting side because it's just I find it nice and calm, and I can just sit there for a couple of hours in the night time listening to a podcast, painting away, and it's something we can do together. But it's not like I don't want to say mentally challenging, but it's like I'm not a talkative person either as well. So it's something we can just sit side by side in nice, quiet companionship. Yeah. And just enjoy and have the odd chat and all the rest. I suppose it's kind of like, the way a lot of people kind of go, oh, well, men don't have like these heart-to-heart talks. They have to sit side by side on a bar stool watching sports or something, and then when there's something else happening, you can have the chats.
What men do you know that are like that?
I don't know.
Seriously, what men have you ever known that are like that? Like,
you're a typical kind of like sports bro or whatever, but like obviously I don't know many of those because most of the people I know are nerds. But that's what I kind of find is like that whole thing of like you're doing something, you're sitting side by side so you can have the conversations, but you're not sitting staring someone in the eye going, let's have a conversation, let's talk, kind of a thing, you know, because I'm not, as I said, sounds the opposite now. I'm blah 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 here.
I can fucking tell you for a fact she's not like that at all.
Yeah. But no, it's like a lot of the times I'm like I have conversations in my own head, but it doesn't come out. Like I might come home from work and
will I burn down that orphanage?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I think I will.
But it is like I come home from work and I'd be like sitting looking at you going, oh, he's good, he's here today. Oh, that looks quite nice. And then like 2 days later, you're like, oh, fucking thanks for noticing I cut my hair, and I'm like, I complimented you. And it's like, no, I didn't.
I don't think that's ever happened.
I did it in my head.
You're living in a fantasy fantasy world, man.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, no, like what you're saying with, I think one of the things that you were missing out on the painting before, why people were into it, was what you're probably seeing now is the challenge to it, the improving kind of thing, where it's like it's fun painting, but then it's when you're doing it, you kind of go, fuck, it's actually a lot harder. And if I want to get, how do I get it to look like that? How do I get it? Because I remember when you were starting with the Night Hunt at first, you're like, I'll just do this, and I was like, yeah, go on, yeah. Because you're going on about doing like all these synthwave colours on them, and you were like, oh, that'll be really easy. And I was like, yeah, give it a go. And then you were like, why the fuck won't it? And I was really expecting, I was like, alright, she's just going to give up.
Have a tantrum and fuck off.
And then you stuck at it, but it was the thing seeing you with kind of going, and I think you said it a few times, going, I can't believe how hard I thought this would be easy.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you think it's easy? It's
because you see, I suppose that's the thing. You kind of think like, oh, I used to like painting when I was younger, so like, I'd probably be able to paint now. And it's like, no, I'm fucking not able.
Yeah, but that's because when you're younger, painting it's shit. You think it's good, because I was like, when you're a teenager, you think that stuff that you're painting is good, and then when you get old, you have this fond memory of it, where you think, oh, that was really good, but like the reality
like
of
if you looked at it, you'd be like, what was wrong with me?
Good. Like,
why did no one tell me?
Painting is really, really, like, I've been painting for fucking like Jesus, 40 fucking years now at this age, say between miniatures and actual painting and stuff. I went to college for it, and it's fucking hard. Like, people spend their whole lives
trying
to get
perfect.
this. And there is no such thing as being naturally talented with painting. People will lie about it. But there are people that are spending 8 hours painting a day. No one gets to a certain point of painting unless you paint, because you have to learn the way the material flows, the way brushes react, and it has to become fucking nearly a muscle memory.
Yeah, true.
With it, so you can get to a certain, and then once you get like basic skills, then they'll start turning into more, and then you can, so it takes a long time, but that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you sat down, you painted a fucking golden demon like thing in your first go in 5 minutes, you go, this is fucking piece of piss, this is shit, I don't enjoy it.
Well, I wouldn't mind that to a certain extent, because what seems to be happening to me lately is I'm painting something and I'm going, yeah, I'm feeling happy with this, that's grand, right, I'll leave it dry. Then I come back to it the following day and I'm like, oh my god, has like a 3-year-old fucking been at my fucking model?
That's an artist mentality. You will never see what you're working on as it is. You will only see the flaws in it. So you have to.
I have a lot of flaws in mine.
But you don't. But it's flaws that you think are there because you have an image in your head. So it's like, say everyone is the same with it. So like with my fellas there, it's like, remember there was like an ogre I was painting with his face, and the fucking sculpt on the face is desperate, and it's nearly like it's melted in on near the shoulder. So there is no detail in on that part of it, and I was like, fucking, I was at it for a good while, and then I thought, alright, that's fine, and then you look at it the next day and it's like, it just looks like I just painted it all fucking pink. And I had like loads of blues and greens and fucking reds
loads of tones,
and then so I went at it again and I just painted a beard in on him, essentially stubble, and I was like, that'll fucking do. Because anyone that's going to look at it, they're going to look at it for a second and go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, you have it in your head about certain things, and it's not necessarily bad, it's just that you have a goal in your head that you're working towards.
But my goal would be to like colour within the lines even, because a lot of my stuff I'm kind of doing it and I'm kind of like, oh, that looks okay, and then
you do
leave it
colour
dry.
within the line.
But then I look at it and I'm like, oh my god, I've just blobbed paint everywhere, and it's like somebody with fucking like no motor control has done this. It's like somebody with severe shapes.
That's because you think it should be a certain kind of way. You get to not thinking like that, and you kind of, because natural things in nature isn't like done within the
I know
lines,
there's not like straight lines or anything like that, but it looks like, oh, you've just let like your 3-year-old loose on your collection.
It doesn't. That's just the thing that you have. But like, that mentality can be helpful because you don't kind of go, it keeps you going where you're going to try out different things, and that'll make you do some weird shit.
Yes.
With the
I
paint.
suppose, yeah, that's the best you could hope for, I suppose, with me, is some weird shit.
Oh my god. You're like, oh. You're a good painter.
Shut up, I'm not fishing for compliments. Yes, I know, I'm a beginner.
But Blood Bowl. When do you think we'll play our next game of Blood Bowl?
We'll probably have another go during the week, because it is actually, again, it's a long game, but it's not quite as long as some other games, and I do kind of like, I suppose, the strategy of like, you're trying to actually score your touchdown as well. Is that, it's not like that you're just, I'm just going to try and encroach and like punch the face off this lad. It's like, I'll punch the face off this lad, but I also want to get the ball and run down the field.
Well, I think the first 2 games that we played, remember your man even came over and he was like, oh my God, this is chaos. Because it was literally everyone that we had from both teams just on top of each other. And then it was like, when we were playing at home, then I think we kind of copped out. It was like, all right, maybe we should be trying to put ourselves in positions where if that guy moves, he'll step into the tackle zone and he'll have to, to make it difficult to move.
Somebody else can throw a ball down the field a little bit. Yeah.
Instead of just like block.
Which is like that's the gas thing as well. Neither of us are into like sports particularly, but I suppose it comes back to like every now and again, like I would have played say like basketball or hurling when I was younger, and every now and again I kind of go, right, must win. And it's like the sport kind of kicks in more so than the I must punch someone's head off. It's like I'll punch someone's head off, but I also want to get the ball down the field. So I think it's possibly a little bit more interesting than your standard, sort of tabletop game.
Well, we're going to, like I was saying, we're going to be playing Hobgoblin soon, which I think the two of us are going to have a lot of fun with, because it's like we were playing Age of Sigmar, and it was like it was all right, like it was good, but at the end of the day, I think it's still just a bit like we weren't rushing to play it again. And as well, when you look at things like guaranteed compared to, well, obviously I won't include Age of Sigmar First Edition because there's no fucking rules to that, but other fantasy games where it's like a lot of different, but still with the Warhammer thing, it's like, alright, you got all these stratagems, you can activate this at different parts and different, where it just feels like it breaks the flow of the game with it. But like Hobgoblin, it doesn't have that, and it's regiments as well, which you were talking about that you wanted to have a go at, because like straight when we were playing Age of Sigmar, you were like, oh fucking hell, I have to move them all individually.
Which you would think would be more interesting as well, because you're like, I can play each player individually, but it's like, oh my God, how many fucking turns do I have to take like before it's your turn? And it's like trying to keep track of everyone.
That's the big thing.
I was kind of like, fuck, I've moved like 4, there's still another 7 to go kind of thing. And I didn't know what I was doing.
When people, well, like there's a lot of reasons why people don't like Warhammer games, but I do think because there's modern games that we've been playing, and because you haven't been playing war games for like fucking decades or even years, you're not caught in that.
Decades or even years, eh?
Yeah, but like yes, either you weren't playing it for 3 or 4 years, neither were you playing it for decades.
Or centuries,
yes,
or millennia,
yes, but
eons.
Yes, but you don't have that whole baggage there where you're caught up in the Games Workshop fucking like this is a game, because a lot of people that are like say our age that have been started playing Games Workshop stuff, you nearly get brainwashed into it, thinking like this is the washed, that this is the only game, these are the mechanics that you have to use, this is what a game is, and you're like, oh Christ, even though you're bored shitless by it. Whereas when you're not caught in that, you're not as invested in it, it's easier to turn around and say, this is fucking boring, or this is fucking stupid. Whereas like there's a lot of people, like I got out of the Games Workshop stuff a while ago, and like if people enjoy it, it's fine.
More power too,
but I just can't like that. Like I think I wrote it on the blog, and I was saying years ago I got back into Warhammer 40k. And the first game I played with a fella, after spending like 6 months building up my army, painting everything, got fucking wiped on the first round. I didn't even get a chance to play. And I was just like,
this is shit.
Yeah, this is fuck, what the fuck? And it was just, and he was like, oh yeah, well your army is shit. And I was like, what the fuck am I meant to do with him now, like?
Yeah, I guess I'd sell him then.
Where it was just like, this is going to be my fucking life if I decide to play. We're just going to be like, spend ages setting up, like a fucking hour to set up a game, and then like sit back for while he's taking fucking an hour for one turn,
making all of his,
to kill everything belonged to me, and I just go,
that's great.
Right.
Thanks very much for the game, dude.
That's it.
Lovely.
But that guy was a dickhead as well. Like he could have
taken it easy and shown you how to play, because it was your first introduction. But
instead of just like
very
fucking
competitive.
He was like, I
killed you. I killed everything.
And I was like there with rule book on. I don't even fucking know.
I don't know what he's done.
And it was like now that didn't put me off. It put me off him more so than 40k.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just playing 40k or Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar is better than 40k, but it's just like, oh God, it takes too long. I don't want to read up all this, and I don't want to do all that. And as well, the lore, it's like Hobgoblin appeals a lot because the lore is quite cool, and it's like, hey, you can have anything in your army that you fucking want. You can have a goblin in your army, you can have a dwarf in your army, you can have a fucking ball that talks in your army.
Cool,
you
I'm
know?
going to do that.
But you can do, all that. And it's like Oathmark to a sort, but Oathmark is more of, say, classic fantasy. That you can bring that in. But, so you have all the different things. But it's still, I don't know, the Hobgoblin just sounds, and it's regimented and stuff. We'll talk about that another time.
Yes.
But Blood Bowl, we're probably going to be playing more Blood Bowl. But out of all the Games Workshop stuff, I think that's probably the only game that I'd be interested in playing at the moment.
Yeah. Space Gitz is where it's at.
Space Gitz are where it's at, and Hobgoblin.
Yes.
But other than that, like what we've been doing for the last, because I keep meaning that we're going to like do a full podcast talking about wrestling, and I'm like, no, that's for a bit of background. Fucking about a year ago, and it is coming up close to a year, I think, we were doing a different...
Was it WrestleMania we started watching?
It was actually SummerSlam. We looked at WrestleMania, and then we didn't follow up on it after that. We were looking for kind of ideas to do podcasts, and we're like, hey, let's have a look at the wrestling and try and get back into it. Because we weren't watching wrestling at that. I hadn't looked at wrestling since the 90s, I think. And we looked at WrestleMania, and it was really good fun. But we never looked at any of the episodes after that thing. SummerSlam came, and we looked at that, and we got into it. We tried looking at AEW, and we were a bit like, I don't know what's going on, and it just seems a bit boring anyway. But that's not a reflection on AEW. It was just that
we didn't get in on the storylines. I think.
Because I didn't recognise any of the people that were getting back into wrestling. WWE's easier because you kind of go,
oh, I remember him from back in the day. Yeah.
With it, so yeah, and we got like really big into it. We were going to look at it for a month and then do the podcast.
And then we just continued looking at it.
We continued looking at it, and we kept looking at it and got more and more into it to the point now that we look at fucking everything with wrestling. And
yeah, like our Saturday nights are like the Friday night fucking SmackDown, and then like our Monday nights or Tuesday nights are Monday nights Raw.
It was good when they were over, like they were doing the European thing before WrestleMania, because now that it's on Netflix, which is fucking great, that we don't have to try and find a way to watch it, because
in the middle of the fucking night as well, depending on when it's like broadcast live.
But like beforehand, like basically we'd have to try and like find a streaming service because I don't even know who we showed over in Ireland. It was TV3. It'd have like a recap of it, and even then with the WWE app, I signed up for that thinking, all right, that'd be great. We can look at Raw, and it's like Raw was put on it 3 weeks after it airs, and it's like, the fuck, like that makes no sense, especially because they'd have the events on it. So say if you look at, for example, WrestleMania, then the next Raw that they're going to have is like 3 weeks before that, and it's just stupid fucking shit. But I understand it's probably like part of their licensing agreements with things. So it would be on Netflix. It's great now because everything is on. We can look at it. Over in Europe, in Ireland where we are, they have NXT, which we've looked at a few times. I just don't want to get big into NXT because
we're already watching too much wrestling.
Yeah, and like now SmackDown is 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, it'll be, and like what's going to happen with WrestleMania next weekend, we're going to have Tuesday, and I think there's like an event that's like, say, the NXT's version of their WrestleMania is on next week, so it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, then there'll be the Saturday night, which would be looking at SmackDown, then Sunday and Monday with the two WrestleMania ones.
See, it's turned into like our soaps.
That's going to be like about 15 hours of wrestling we're going to be looking at next week.
Have that.
Which, yeah. But where it's just kind of like for something that went, and it's great. It is.
It's very entertaining, because that's the thing, I suppose. We would have been relatively fit and into martial arts.
Yeah, we were doing jiu-jitsu at one point,
so you can appreciate like how fucking athletic and how acrobatic a lot of these people are and all the rest, while appreciating the storyline.
Like, not saying that the wrestlers were bad in the 90s, because they weren't, they were fucking fantastic, but it's what I think some of the shit with the press in the 80s kind of ruined some of the thing where they were like, oh, wrestling is fake, and it kind of detracted from everything that wrestling is, where it's like these are like fucking professional athletes, that are doing mad fucking stunts right in front of you. And they do it for 20 minutes or a half an hour, and by saying that it's fake, it nearly makes that sound like that's where it's like, you cannot fake lifting someone over your head. You can't fake jumping fucking off the ropes onto. You can't fake what they do. Like they can do things to minimize injuring each other.
Yeah, exactly. You can pull your punches and not smack someone in the nose, but like if you're doing a fucking suicide dive off the fucking ring out into the the crowd or whatever, you're taking that fall. Like.
Jumping into concrete, like even with like a 1-inch foam, fucking we did like when we were doing jiu-jitsu, like you learn how to fall, but it still fucking hurts like fuck when someone throws you over their shoulder. And
you still get winded, like.
And that's even onto a mat. Like, people think, a mat. It's not like falling into some fluffy fucking cloud. It just stops you from breaking your bones instantly. Like, if someone fucking throws you hard enough into... Like, I got my ribs broke, like, on occasion, and, like, different injuries. Like, well, I was constantly getting injured. Yeah. But it's
keeping your wits about you, even, as well, because I can remember getting thrown, somebody, like, completely out of the blue, I wasn't expecting, I got thrown clean through the air over someone's fucking shoulder, and like when you land you're winded and you don't know what the fuck is after happening, you don't know where the fuck you are, you're like, Jesus Christ, your head is ringing and all the rest, and you're expected to get back up and start fighting straight away again, and fucking
because the person that's coming for you is not going to stop
exactly they're like a Terminator.
But it's like, even though like jiu-jitsu and wrestling are very different to sort, but at the same point with the wrestling, because the cameras are on, like we've seen it, people getting fucking horrifically injured and they carry on wrestling.
Yeah, they're just like fucking muscle through to the end of the match.
There was a guy a while ago, JD McDonough is his name, and he was tag team wrestler, he's an Irish guy, and he got thrown out of the ring. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but he's fucking...
He landed on the announcer's desk.
His neck hit the announcer's, his head hit, like, but it was like direct, like with his neck.
Landing on his neck,
And like,
at the time, the two of us were like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, everyone was. Like, even and he kept going. And the guys that, like, I do think the fellas that, like, it was an accident, alright, but the fellas that he was wrestling, they were called the War Raiders. They like carried on doing stuff to his neck.
Yeah.
Where it was like drops on, and it was like fucking, like you've seen it, everyone knows what's after happening, and he's been out for must be 4 months now, maybe 5 months. I hope he's okay, and like, I mean, everyone was, because it looked really nasty, but you do see there's like it's so getting more and more common with people kind of having injuries, and there's a guy, Kevin Owens, who's fucking really good heel. In it, he's out now at the moment to get neck surgery, and he could be gone for a year if he's lucky.
Yeah, if he's lucky.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I all have my full sympathy, because, like, not putting myself on the same sort of pedestal as them or anything like that, but, like, I've got severe sort of neck and spinal injuries going back years as well, and it's... Once it happens, that's it. Yeah. It's a lifelong injury.
Well, like, it took you out of jiu-jitsu, like, and I wasn't too bad into doing competitions, but you were planning on getting, like,
for competitions, and I'm out of all martial arts now, and that's it. Like, I can't, and like, it affects your, like, I mean, I'm sort of at the stage now where it affects my everyday living. It affects how I work, if I'm sitting down, if I'm standing up, how I sleep at night. I can't do an awful lot of stuff that I used to be able to do, and like, all of a sudden you feel like, oh geez, I feel like a fucking an hour on of 80 kind of thing, because I'm all bent over and crippled. So like, these guys, that's their livelihood. That's it, and they're they're going to end up getting a neck surgery and having to try and go back out there wrestling again. That's fucking no mean feat.
I think WWE are after getting better with people, because Vince McMahon is gone from it now, and I'm not putting the blame on him for everything in it, but it does seem to be like, I mean, Triple H
he's in charge now, but I think once you have a wrestler in charge of what's been doing, they know the pitfalls and they know the dangers.
There's a board, because they were bought by the same crowd that owned UFC, and The Rock is one of the shareholders in it, so you have a bunch of shareholders, but from all accounts, Triple H is in charge of the creative decisions, and he's pretty much in charge of, like, the company. Not the company, but, like, the WWE,
the direction of it
at large, and it does seem to be that he's just like, it seems to be pretty nicer, and it seems to be a different company. People are like getting time off, people are getting maternity leave.
Yeah, they can actually see their families every now and again. Yeah.
But like like we were talking about people with the injuries and stuff. It's like there's fucking seems to be more and more of them. But like for the 80s,
because everyone is going for the more spectacular fucking like, you know, rope jumps and stuff like that. That's what it is, or stage dives, you know.
But at least they're not doing things where it's like fucking they're not taking blows to the head anymore.
Yeah.
That was one thing I will say about with Vince McMahon as well, that at least when there was this whole thing about like people getting concussions and stuff after the whole oh god, why can't sorry, my memory is terrible. Chris Benoit thing, and that it came to light that it was like, you know, brain injuries might have had a major contributing role in him murdering his family and himself. That WWE were, instead of going, no, that's all bullshit, they were like, show us the research into what can we do differently, and they started changing things with it. So it's like, I don't, it's so different. It's the same as it was in the 90s. It's after coming back to some of the mad stuff in the 90s, but it's so different. It's like, I mean, it's so good. Anyone who's not looking at the wrestling or like any ex-fans, I do think it's, especially with WrestleMania coming up, I think it's a great time to go back into it.
And if you can, go support your local wrestling.
We went to her local wrestling in Ireland. It was what were they called there?
Fucking, I can't remember now.
They're from Kildare. I think Sheamus might have started there. Finn Balor.
And I think Joe McIntyre might wrestle there as well. Yeah. But they're sort of the up and coming sort of wrestlers of Ireland kind of a thing. Yeah. So and then they go around doing sort of I suppose shows and stuff like that. So
they were good. They were very good. Like, they're talented athletes and stuff.
Yeah, it was. I very much. You ended up getting sick of it after a while because you can't sit down for a long period of time. All of that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of kids at it. Where it's like, do you want to be the bad guy that there's kids standing and blocking your view?
And you're like, sit down, shut up, I can't see. As an
quiet!
Whereas for me, the kids are adding to that. I was like, fucking, the kids are losing their minds.
I found the kids funny, and it was, they were, like, I mean, they were having the best day of their fucking lives.
And the wrestlers, you know, sort of engaging with
their pathetic little lives.
Yes, it just suddenly ran out, didn't it? But like, if you have the chance to go and see actual live wrestling, go and do it, because it's like, it's a great laugh. Apart from anything else, it's just an entertaining day.
All right.
Get out and support your locals.
But saying that, I just wanted to drop it in there at the end of it, like, wrestling, and then we can say, right, fucking after a year, looking at it, we finally talked about wrestling on the podcast. That's that ticked. We can move on with our lives
and continue watching 15 hours of wrestling.
And then just drop in every now and again and say, wrestling. And it's what, look, thank you if you've listened thus far. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully we're going to be more regular with the podcast going forward. The podcast is going to be about fucking just nerd stuff, essentially.
Whatever it's going to be for.
Movies, gaming, videos, movies, music, gaming, wrestling. So look, thanks for listening, and hopefully we will talk to you again soon.
Can you smell
eggs?
Ew,